All right, I'm ready to start painting my Pixel self-portrait, so there's a few things that I need at my table. First, I need my tray of paint, and notice how in my tray of paint, I'm only going to give you a few colors. I'm only going to give you the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, and a couple neutral colors, black and white. This is because I want you to challenge yourself to do some color mixing yourself. So, I have my mixing palette to do some color mixing. I have my brush. The brushes we're using today are these brushes with the square tops. They have a flat top, so this will be really easy to paint straight boxes because they have a flat square top. And I have my tray with my water cup and my rag to clean off my brush and to wipe it clean. So what I'm going to start with is my pixel drawing and my big pixel grid. I want to look at this the entire time I'm painting to know which color boxes and where to go on my big painting. So I see that box number 1-1 is green and the whole row is all green. So I'm always going to start with box 1-1 and go to the side and then go down to the next row. 2-1 all the way down, 3-1 all the way down, and I'm going to go down and down and down from there. So if I know my whole first row is green, then I'm going to have to mix up a nice green color. So we know that the two primaries that mix to make green are yellow and blue. So I'll use my brush and my mixing palette to mix up a nice green. Now once I have some yellow there, I need to wash my brush off before I dip in the blue, get it nice and clean, wipe away all of the yellow so that there's no more yellow on the brush before I dip in the blue, and then I can dip in my blue. Mix up a little blue into the yellow and mix it up until I get a nice green color that I like. Okay, that looks pretty good. So once I have a good pile, then I can start painting. I don't want to have just a tiny little spot because I need to paint a lot of green. So I want a big pile of blue and yellow to make green. So once I have my whole green pile mixed up, I'll start to paint my first row all the way green. So with these flathead brushes, they're really, really great at making some straight lines. So here's how we're going to paint with our flathead brush. I'm going to start at this first box, 1-1, because it is green. And I'm going to use my brush on the side to press, going from the straight line of the box all the way out to this side, and then down until I fill the whole box, okay? Now, I know the whole row is going to be green, so I can just actually go all the way and paint the whole row green. So I'm going to keep pressing on the side of my brush. This nice flathead brush is good at making nice straight lines. I can dip in my paint again if I need more paint, and keep painting that whole row green. Okay, once I finish that whole row of green, now I notice that the next row is going to be green, but then it switches all the way to yellow, all the way to box 12. So I'll paint that next box green, because I know that's supposed to be green. But the next box after that, I need to switch to yellow. So I need to wash my brush off, get all that green away, wipe it clean. There's no more green on there. Now I can dip in my yellow. Now this whole row is going to be yellow all the way to box 12. So I can look at my big grid and find box 12 and make a little marker for myself so I know that I'm going to go all the way from here down to box 12. Now yellow is a very light color, so if you notice, you can kind of see my grid lines through the yellow. That might mean that I need an extra coat of yellow after this yellow dries. We really don't want to see any of the grid lines when we're finished painting these. We just want to see the colored boxes. So I'll paint this whole row yellow and then wait for it to dry and then maybe give it a second coat. Okay? And then it looks like I need to continue painting this whole area green because the rest of the boxes after 12 are all green. So I'll finish those with green. Now, what happens if I have a box on my drawing that is kind of half one color and half another color? Like this box right here. half red and half peach. So what I'll do is I'll find that box, and I'm just going to show you an example of how I paint that box. So that box is 9 and 5. So I'll find 9 and 5 right here. So if that box is half red and half peach, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big brush, and I'm just going to take it on the top of the brush and make a line going across like this. Now I'll use my brush to fill in kind of a triangle shape because it's half red and half peach. Okay, so if you ever have a half box, you can just use your brush to cut that box in half. If you have a box that is really tiny shape, like a little tiny square, you can ask for a tinier brush and we can fill in tinier spaces with tinier brushes, because this big brush won't be very good for that tiny box. Okay? So everybody, let's start painting our pixel portraits and use a lot of color mixing.